Jerkbait fishing made easy. That's a pretty wide open topic, I'd say. The first thing I want to say is we just heard it. Jerkbaits are really good in cold weather. When I started fishing, nobody fished jerkbaits in cold weather. You fish jerkbaits in hot weather. So did the fish quit hitting them in the hot weather? Or did they start hitting them in the cold weather? We're not really sure about that. But what I say, it's a year-round tool. I have never come across a lake, a situation, a species, largemouth, smallmouths are spotted, anything about it that is, you can't catch them on. It's impossible to catch them on a jerkbait. A jerkbait is a tool that will work year-round. And the biggest thing I've ever seen, this is my big clue. When I go out there, and I think you've all gone out there, you've gone to a new lake, maybe you go to one you've fished for 1,000,000 years, and you go fishing for half a day. You throw everything in a box, jerkbait, or you throw all the other things. You throw crankbaits, spinnerbaits, jigs, chatterbaits, and you just don't get a bite. There's just nothing happening, okay? And you swear the lake's dead. Those are the situations that I always go to a jerkbait. Because when a jerkbait goes, it's sometimes the only thing you can catch them on. And I think that's why there's so many tournament guys that just it's always a bait that's on your rod somewhere. It might be on the very bottom, dug way down in there in your box, but a jerkbait of some sort is always on my rod at somewhere in my boat. Every tournament, every place I go, middle of the summer, middle of the winter, doesn't matter, okay? I always have some sort of jerkbait on because there's no wrong time. There's no wrong time for that. And those days, I think the first experience I had was, I go all the way back to the start of the jerkbait. I mean, when they first came out, guys called it crispin. Jimmy Crisp won a big tournament on Table Rock Lake, where Watson lives now, and no one was catching anything, and he threw a giant Rapala, the big husky jerks, and he jerked it through the water, and they called it crispin. And he won $100,000 on that bait. Well, it sort of got a holdover into California, Northern California. And that's where I ran into it. I'd read about crispin, I'd read about this. But you read about something that's not really, it doesn't really hit home. But you actually see it. And everything changes. So what I found out was, I was fishing a tournament on my home lake way back in the day, Roosevelt Lake in Arizona, and it was tough. It was like maybe spawn, maybe not. I didn't know what was happening. It was in April. It wasn't cold, it wasn't hot. It should be awesome. And nothing. You couldn't catch a fish doing anything. So I had a few of these baits. I used to use like a Smithwick Rogue. I had a couple in my boat. I'm like, I'm gonna try them. And it was literally like cheating. It was literally going from no bites in a day to getting 75 and 100 bites in a day. All because I'm using this jerkbait. And we used to call it ripping. I don't know, there was a lot of names that's gone by, crispin, ripping, jerkbaiting. I don't know, the whole gamut of how it evolved, but it was a secret. And everyone talks, I've won 31 bass boats in my life tournament fishing. There's probably 8 or 10 of them that came just from a jerkbait, going to places that no one had thrown jerkbaits before back in the day. Going to New Mexico, Elephant Butte Lake, going up to Clear Lake, going to places where jerkbaits were you just threw them all day long. You didn't have anything else tied on, you didn't have a flipping stick, you didn't have a spinnerbait, you had a jerkbait, and that's what you threw. So my experience with jerkbait's always been nothing but positive. It played a huge role in the last big tournament I won. It's played a big role in a lot of tournaments I've won. But the key to a jerkbait is sort of like we're talking about. It's a commitment, okay? It's a commitment, and there's a lot of facets to it. So we're gonna go through a few of the facets that...
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.